Alright guys, Jotun here again, back with another video, and this is going to be my review for Uncharted 3. Oh, itch my chin. Slightly different because it's a Judge Jotun on the road. So yes, you were here first, the first time I ever did a review on the road. And hope everyone's been okay. Hope you all had a good weekend. I didn't do much, just chilled out. It was the end of a long holiday from work. Had 2 weeks off work, and it's my first night back in tonight. So I've been asleep most of the day, trying to get myself, readjusted back to nights and whatever. But that's not what this video is about. This video is for Uncharted 3 from Naughty Dog, only available on PlayStation 3, and of course it's the third in the series of our adventures with Nathan Drake. And for those, well, everyone's aware, it's like a Tomb Raider / action adventure game, but it's sort of renowned for being almost like playing in your own action movie. And again, I'll talk a bit more in depth about some of the other things, but overall I've got to say that on the whole this game is absolutely fantastic. It is one of the most addicting games I've ever played. Now, if you're on my friends list, you'll know that I very rarely do I play single players for any length of time. I kind of get bored, even with something like Batman Arkham City Batman Arkham City, which is a great game, but it is the same thing as Arkham Asylum, if you get what I mean. And it doesn't suck you in because it's the superhero kind of thing. The story doesn't suck you in as much, or it doesn't with me anyway. But Uncharted 3, just like Uncharted 2, I played in 2 stints and completed. And that's very rare for me. Do I let a campaign take up that much time on my gaming all at once? Normally you're talking 3 to 5 sessions for a 10-hour game for me. But this is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The story's fantastic. I won't give away too much, but again, you find yourself Nathan, Chloe, a new character. There's new characters that are part of your team. There's Sully. There's one really good level early on where you actually flash back to a young Nathan, and how he originally meets Sully, and that's really good. And they kind of did something different. I felt you could almost split this Uncharted into 2. The first, I'd say 10, maybe 12 chapters, there's a lot of puzzle-based stuff and shooting mixed in. And then as things ramp up towards the end of the game, my God, do they bring the action. Jesus, it goes absolutely nuts with the action. And I actually think it's not as good a story as Uncharted 2, but I think the pacing is slightly better. It's a bit of a contentious issue because people have their favourites, but I actually quite like this. What Uncharted 2 did that was good was they actually, sort of ramped up the story, then slowed it down, then ramped it up, and then slowed it down. They paced it that way. This one is very much half and half, and of course that's mainly because they had a bit of the origin story mixed in at the beginning of the game. So that's a bit of the story. The the graphics, I actually think they're not as good as Uncharted 2. I don't know if anyone else has noticed. I noticed a few glitches here and there. Sometimes it looks slightly blurry, but I'm really nitpicking. Overall, the graphics are fantastic. Sound is good, and like I've tweeted out before, every time I load up an Uncharted game, the main theme song just makes me smile. Now everyone sing it with me. Absolutely brilliant. I just love that. It's just so iconic, that theme tune. I just love it, absolutely love it. And again, I suppose with the sound, you'd have to put the, you know, the voice acting. The voice acting is it's this game's real star. Without the voice acting, the story would mean nothing. You can have as best story as you want, but like with a film, if a film's got a great plot but the actors are shit, nobody's going to give a stuff because you can't invest in the characters. And that's maybe why I think this is sort of better than Batman Arkham City, because they're human characters, they draw you in more. But the performances from Nolan North again, and Helen Mirren as the main protagonist, the antagonist, sorry, Marlowe, who's the big female villain, absolutely brilliant. Was it Judi Dench plays Marlowe? Oh, I can't remember now. Anyway, the character looks like Helen Mirren. But anybody, correct me in the comments whether it's Helen Mirren or Judi Dench. But there's nothing like a good English actor or actress to make a villain, eh? Remember Alan Rickman from Die Hard? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Classic. So yeah, that's the sound. The gameplay's much the same, like the mechanics. You know, some people don't like the Uncharted controls, some people don't have a problem with them. The aiming is a particular beef of mine in Uncharted 3. I don't know what they've done to it. Now, apparently there was 2 development teams, one doing multiplayer, one doing single player, but the aiming is completely different in both components. And apparently there is a patch coming out for the aiming in the single player, along with fixes for the multiplayer as well. Yeah, the only other issue I've got with the campaign, and it's a big letdown, because you will just, on say normal difficulties, probably on hard as well, I'm going to try and get the platinum on this one. The enemy AI is is awful, and I mean truly awful. They will literally stand next to you and not fire at you, and sometimes it is so easy to just you know, in Uncharted 1 you used to struggle because it was sort of like a wave effect to the enemies, and then Uncharted 2 it wasn't so much a wave of enemies, they just made them a bit smarter. Well, it seems they've got confused between the two, because the enemies tend to come in a wave, or their AI does, especially like the grunts or the heavies, but they're stupid. The AI is terrible, and that was a big letdown because it didn't offer enough of a challenge at all really throughout the whole game. The enemy AI did let this game down a bit, but aside from that I can't fault the campaign. It's absolutely fantastic. It's well worth the price of it's well worth the purchase price on its own, the campaign. The multiplayer is just not my cup of tea at all. The character movements are floaty. The first couple of guns, like the AK and the Gmal, are pretty much next to useless. Apparently there's a patch for that. Like I said, I'm going to hold on to this game. I want to actually party up with some people and play it in a party and see if I can't improve at it, but it's a lot of blind fire, and it's yeah, it's not great. And I haven't touched the co-op yet, but from what I have seen, that does look fantastic. But like I said, the campaign on its own is reason enough to buy the game. And basically, if you own a PS3, you owe it to yourself to play this fucking game. As with all the Uncharted, just fantastic achievement. It's a fantastic game, and if I had to score it, and like I said, I'm going to take marks off the enemy AI. I've got to, because it is truly terrible. And with better enemy AI, it would have been more of a challenge, and it would have felt even better to get through that story. But I'm going to give this game, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Some people might disagree and say it's a 10 out of 10, but I'm saying it's a 9 out of 10. There's a couple of things in the multiplayer I'm not keen on at all, and then the enemy AI is really bad. Alright guys, well that was the first Judge Jotun on the road review for Uncharted 3 on PlayStation 3, and I'll catch you on the next one. Alright guys, see you later. Jotun out.